When you start learning German, one of the first difficulties you encounter is that there are 3 genders: masculine, feminine and neuter. For example, Mann is masculine, Frau is feminine and Haus is neuter. Which makes sense because a man is clearly male, a woman is obviously female, and a house is neither one or the other, it's a thing. Unfortunately, German doesn't work like that. Mädchen, for example, is neuter even though it clearly refers to a female human being. Tisch is masculine, although it's a thing, and Tür is feminine, although it too is a thing. And this happens in other languages as well. For example, in Russian, Zavod is masculine, Kniga is feminine, and Jabloko is neuter. Many languages don't have a neuter gender, so everything is either masculine or feminine. In French, for example, café is masculine and chaise is feminine. In Welsh, castell is masculine and pont is feminine. In German, the gender is shown by the article, that's the word for the or a, and adjectival endings. There are also 4 cases and a plural you have to remember, which means that when you start out learning German, you have to learn this. Now, we talk about genders and we call them masculine, feminine and neuter, but of course they have very little to do with the actual gender of the object you're talking about. Rather, this is just a way of categorizing nouns. So how did this come about? Well, for the answer to that question, we may have to go back about 6,000 years or so to a time when people were speaking a language called, well, we don't know what it was called because there are no written records of it anywhere, but linguists are absolutely certain that it must have existed and that it was the ancestor of most of the languages now spoken in Europe and in parts of Western and Southern Asia, and they call it Proto-Indo-European. They've even tried to reconstruct parts of it, which is quite difficult, and there's no way of knowing whether it's a very accurate reconstruction, but it is based on current and historical evidence. Just to make sure though, whenever linguists write a word in a proto-language, they use an asterisk to indicate, be careful, this is only a guess. It's thought that originally this language had 2 classifications for nouns, animate for living things and inanimate for non-living things. Certainly the ancient Hittite language had this system. It's extinct now, but we have written records of it, so we can be absolutely certain. But then things got complicated. Exactly what happened can't be known for sure, but the best guess goes something like this. There was a special ending for nouns that indicated either collectives, so groups of people or things, or abstract concepts. Over time, for whatever reason, people started thinking of this special ending as a 3rd category for nouns. And then they started getting confused. They started putting the wrong endings on their nouns. And hey presto, illogical genders. Probably. It's not the only theory, and of course we must remember that there's no proof of any of this, just indirect evidence. Still, as an educated guess, it's probably not bad. Remember, you can always send me a postcard at this address. You can also find me elsewhere on the web. Visit Rewboss.com to find out how. They have installed signs, warning lights, sensors, barriers.